Falls Township Board of Supervisors meeting, April 1st, 2014. We're going to begin our meeting with the salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Here.
Mr. Braskin?
Here.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Dents?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Here. Okay, thank you. Just remembering to silence my cell phone, sorry. All right, well, it's finally April. Winter is gone. It's starting to feel like spring. We thank everybody for coming out this evening. We're going to start off with something we're very proud to do. Our community is blessed with a lot of great volunteers who work in our fire companies, who work on a lot of our sports leagues, and rarely do we have people that put in a record of service that reaches 50 years. And this evening, we're lucky enough to be joined by some members of the Falls Township Fire Company, and particularly one of those members who has served for 50 years this community as a volunteer firefighter. And what I'd like to do now is I'm going to read the proclamation that we're going to present to Mr. Ed Zeke this evening. Whereas the Township of Falls is a second-class township located in the County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Falls is the duly elected governing body of the township and feels it is important to recognize individuals and organizations who make valuable contributions to the lives of the citizens of Falls. And whereas Edward Zeke has faithfully served the citizens of Lower Bucks County as a volunteer firefighter, and thereby the residents and properties of Falls Township protected by that service. And whereas Ed Zeke, having recently celebrated his 50th year in service of the community of Falls Township, and continues to make valuable contributions as an active member of the Falls Township Fire Company No. 1. Therefore, the Board of Supervisors of the Township of Falls, on behalf of the citizens, does hereby issue this proclamation to Edward Zeke, expressing its sincere congratulations and gratitude for 50 years of dedication and service to the community, and hopes for many more years of successful service and dedication. Proclaimed this first day of April 2014. Mr. Zeke, thank you very much.
Well, why would he? He's too busy getting dressed up for work.
Thanks.
My daughter just scored, so I'm in a much better mood.
Congratulations.
It's not my vote, it's that meeting going on.
But yours was delayed.
It's going off a little bit.
Yeah, you want to be texting your friends about gossip girl or something. That's fine.
All right, so it's a great way to start off a meeting. Before we begin with our regular agenda, we do have a couple introductions to make. I feel bad that they're sort of here with not much of a crowd, but it is being televised, so you're going to be going out to, over 35,000 people at some point. As many people know, there was a recent change in leadership in our Park and Rec department. Bill Reese has moved on. In addition to that, our Assistant Park and Rec Director, Mrs. Jenna Russo-Baiocchi, for personal reasons, family reasons, also resigned. She is a new mother, and she's going to be spending a lot more time with her daughter, which obviously is very envious of her chance to do that, and we wish her all the best. Her husband, in addition, has gotten a new job that requires him to travel quite a bit, and so it just made sense for her. She thought about applying for the job here, and she just decided her daughter was more important, and we can certainly understand that. We wish her the best. So this evening, we're pleased to introduce our new Park and Rec Director and Assistant Director as well. And we'll just ask them to say a few words, put them on the spot a little bit. Mr. Brian Andrews will be our new Park and Rec Director. Mr. Andrews, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brian Andrews. I'm the new Parks and Recreation Director. Very excited to be here. I have over 18 and a half years of experience in Parks and Recreation. I've been working for the City of Philadelphia Parks and Rec Department for the last 9 years, and prior to that, worked in the Philadelphia prison system. I'm very excited to be here. Just met Jessica a little while ago. We're trying to get up to speed on a few things, but really excited for the busy time of the year, camp and pool management, and really excited to be here and work with the community, and that's where we want to be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And he already mentioned Ms. Jessica Fox, who will be our Assistant Director. Ms. Fox?
As they mentioned, my name is Jessica Fox. My background is in Parks and Recreation. My undergraduate degree is from Penn State University, and my master's in Recreation, Park, and Tourism Management is from the University of Illinois. I spent some time as a sales and marketing director in the recreation field, so I'm excited to apply those skills, and I'm excited to serve the community. I've lived in the area most of my life, and I'm really excited to show people what an awesome place this is to live.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank both of you for coming here this evening. They'll be starting pretty soon here at the Township building, and so we can look forward to hopefully many years of their service. Since Mr. Andrews mentioned the camp and the park, I wanted to mention, so I've had a few questions so far about the summer camp. A few people curious, they hadn't heard anything about the summer camp, when it was starting, if we were having it. One person asked me if we were having it. I guess she was under the impression we weren't having it. We actually had to wait for the school district to give us a start date. Obviously with all the snow, the original school calendar got changed all around. And so they wanted to wait for some time when they were pretty sure there would not be any more snow, and hopefully they're right. And so they have given us a date of June 30th, which will be the first day for the summer camp. Roughly a week or so after school lets out, it will be at Walt Disney Elementary School again. So I think we can start putting information out. We'll probably start doing, I guess, mailings relatively soon to families and people that have applied. And if the information is on the website now, I guess it will be relatively soon. But we literally just found that out on Thursday or Friday, I think it was. Yes. So we haven't forgotten about it. We are having a camp. It's always a very successful program. A lot of people, parents and kids, really enjoy it. So we are doing that, but again, a little bit delayed just because of the issues with the weather and waiting for the school district to be able to give us a start date. Okay? So our public comment, I have one name on the list, Mr. Randy Sills.
Hi, my name is Randy Sills. I live in Levittown Thornridge section. I saw a posting of an ordinance for gun restrictions in the park, and I just want to know what the intentions were.
Yeah, the ordinance we're looking at, I'm assuming you're talking about the one this evening, which is item 7 on the agenda.
Correct.
Currently, there is a restriction on bringing firearms into the park. And what we're doing, essentially changing that to specifically address the hunting. So it wouldn't necessarily preclude the bringing of a firearm into the park, but you wouldn't be able to hunt.
Okay,
So that's the change we're making. That's in line with recent court decision at the state level regarding the city of Erie and a law they had in place regarding firearms. So,
okay,
okay?
you're clear,
All right,
thanks.
thanks. All right, that's the only name on the list. Is there anybody else wish to speak? Okay. All right, we'll move on to next agenda item, which is consider proposal from FX Brown for Act 101 recycling grant. Mr. Gray.
Yes, recently the township received a quote from FX Brown.
Mr. Harvey, you,
Did I skip something?
since Superior Motors was an advertised agenda
Oh, I
item,
apologize.
and since we have certain time limits, that needs to be tabled because the applicant has not gone before the planning commission as of yet.
I knew we were taking it off the agenda. I just assumed we were just skipping it, so I
Yeah,
apologize.
but since it's advertised and since it involves
fine.
time limits, it has to be tabled after discussions with the applicant because they, as we indicated, they have not done everything they need to be in front of planning as of yet.
Okay. All right, so we're not to a date certain, correct?
Not to a date certain.
Okay, so is there a motion to table the conditional use for Superior Motors?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we'll go to FX Brown. Mr. Gray.
Yes, the township received a proposal from FX Brown dated February 25th regarding the renewal for the recycling service contract for 2015. This is a proposal for the completion of the Act 101 recycling report. With this proposal, they would include gathering the 2013 tonnages for residential and commercial waste haulers that operate in the township. They would prepare the application for an Act 101 Municipal Recycling Program Performance Grant, and they would also compile the documentation and prepare a year-end report for the township. Total cost of this proposal is $3,500. We have used this company for many years. The board is asked to consider this proposal at this time.
Okay. Comments or questions for Mr. Gray? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No questions.
Mr. Dents?
None.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes, how much did we get back last year from the,
We are estimated to receive $79,000.
79,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right, I'm good.
I guess the only question I had, we're paid basically on the amount of recycling we produce. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And I think, I know we've said this a couple times, and I still, like, it drives me, it's one of the, I guess, a pet peeve, as I'm driving around the neighborhoods, including, even my own street. One of the things that Waste Management did recently, well, not recently, it was a couple of years ago, actually, was they increased the number of things you can recycle in Falls Township. They're moving to a different system, or they moved to a different system. And so a lot of things that previously people thought you couldn't recycle, now you can recycle. If you buy, a giant, 60-inch, LED TV and it comes in a giant cardboard box, that box can be recycled. Put it out with recycling. Any kind of plastic now, not even just the water bottles, but even, laundry detergent bottles, cereal boxes, that are any kind of thin cardboard. Juice cartons, even the rolls, the cardboard rolls that toilet paper and paper towels are on, all of that can be recycled. Any kind of cardboard, doesn't matter how thick or thin, all of it can be recycled. So I kind of drive around, and if on trash day, I'll notice people having things out that are cardboard and recyclable, and they'll have it out on trash day, not on recycle day. And that recycling does bring money into the township. The more we recycle as a community, the more money we get back. So there's definitely a benefit in addition to the environmental benefits. There's a financial benefit to the township. And I think the EAC might, or somebody I think is going to hit on that a little bit with the newsletter we have coming out, the spring newsletter. I think somebody might be touching on that too, but I wanted to make that announcement, and hopefully people can start moving more toward doing that. So, all right. Is there any public comment regarding the application for recycling service? I see no hands. Is there a motion then to approve or to retain the services of FX Brown for the Act 101 recycling in the amount of $3,500?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. So we spend money, we have to do a roll call vote. I apologize. Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion regarding LED lights for Falls Township. Mr. Rocco's worked quite a bit on this. I don't know if you wanted to introduce this, or,
Oh, you can, go ahead,
okay.
if you don't mind.
We've talked quite a bit about the idea of moving with many of our streetlights to LED lights. We've been doing sort of a slow change out over the past number of years. As a light burns out, we replace it with an LED light. But as you can imagine, that's replacing a dozen, maybe 2 dozen a year, and we have 2,500 streetlights roughly. So at this rate, it's going to be a while for us to replace all of them, and they do consume a whole lot more light than the LED lights would. So I know we have someone here. Mr. Gray, you want to introduce?
Yes, thank you. As mentioned, we have been looking at the LED lighting for the streetlights. And during the process, we've been talking to Mr. Vaughn Van Gilson from Penn Lighting Associates, who's here with us tonight. If you could come up to the podium.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Vaughn Van Gilson with Penn Lighting. I brought some LEDs just to kind of show you what go in actually the fixtures. I didn't bring the fixture itself.
Sure.
Just to kind of show you easy change out and things like that. But we've been talking with Falls for probably about a few months now. We're recently doing a change out right now in Bristol Township. We're about 2/3 of the way done. They have about 3,000 LED Cobra heads installed. So we worked on a project with them. And everything had to be with a return on investment, so it had to make sense. So the return on investment with Bristol Township, just to talk about them for a second, was about 5-year payback. So anything under 10 years is kind of what's looked upon as a good project. Running the numbers, I actually have a proposal I could kind of give you guys, if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine.
Thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you start out on the proposal, total annual KWH usage for what you have existing right now is about $1,667,000. Annual energy cost is about $127,000. That's what we took from your electric bills. Energy and maintenance costs was roughly about $195,000. The new proposed system, what we're proposing, changing everything over, would reduce your annual KW usage to about $565,000. Your annual energy cost would be about $46,700. Going down a little bit more, there's a huge savings for your first year, plus there's an estimated about $88,000 utility rebate that you would be able to get from PECO for changing the streetlights over also. Installation costs, we have a couple different contractors that we work.
Just use the microphone, sorry. We're letting our audio guys letting us know you're not getting picked up, so you got to be a little
I'm
closer.
sorry.
Just pick it up a little bit closer to you. There you go.
Hold it in your hand if you want.
Yeah, it's up to you. Whatever you're
Makes it a little
comfortable
bit easier. The PECO rebate for changing all the lights out would be roughly about $88,000. So the initial project material cost for all the LED fixtures would roughly be around $475. Initial installation with contractors that we work with for the going rate of anywhere from about $65 to $75 per fixture installed, it came to about $640,000 for the whole project. If you look down to actual payback with first year rebates, you're at 3.7-year payback, which in my eyes, that's just me, it makes perfect sense. When you're changing over to LEDs, because now you have a fixture that's rated for about 10 years, so you shouldn't have to touch that fixture for 10 years. So your maintenance and your energy saving will go far past that 3.7 years. So as you see, total savings after 10 years, including first year rebates and EPAC, is about $1.5 million for doing this project. So LEDs, I'll actually put this back up. These are the LEDs that would actually go into the fixtures, so you guys can kind of see these. The optics, which are these little plastic boards, are actually what tells you where the light should actually go. So if one of these boards actually do fail, it's actually easy to replace. There's a quick disconnect right on the back side of here. So you would go into the fixture, pop this one out, and then pop the new board on. So it's quick, simple, and easy. You don't have to take a whole fixture down and replace a fixture. As LEDs progress and become more efficient over time, you can also replace the boards, and then you get even more savings too. So. We have multiple projects actually going on too, besides Bristol. We are working with the city of Philadelphia. This gentleman said he came from the city of Philly. We're also doing another big project in Bethlehem. We have another one going on in Westchester right now. So if you need any kind of feedback, I could give you names and numbers of the places that have already gone through with this process, and you could ask their feedback for those. The products that we're using is Philips products. We do offer financing if you guys are interested, which would just, we would have to pull credit history and do things like that. You have to.
I think we'll be okay, but go ahead.
I think it'll be okay too. But if you wanted to go down that route, some places have the money up front, some places don't. Some people don't want to spend it real quick, you know. So, but that's an option if you wanted to kind of go that route too. If you guys have certain contractors that you work with, we're willing to work with those too. So everything is up to you guys. It's just an opportunity to change out your streetlights and go to a more efficient LED source.
Okay. All right, let's see if board members have questions for you, or obviously they could direct questions either to Mr. Gray or to Mr. Clark or Ms. Gallagher in terms of the legal aspects here. Mr. Galloway.
Just that I see, so when you list the total annual cost of ownership for what we have right now, you say the annual energy cost is roughly $128,000, and so the maintenance would be about $48,000 because the bump up there then for the total annual cost is about $196,000, right?
Correct. It would be 126 minus 195 would be your maintenance costs.
And so there is no maintenance cost with the new LEDs.
Once
it's
you
just
put
the
them
installation?
up, they're done.
And
Unless obviously a lightning bolt hits
Sure.
them or things like that, you know, those kind of catastrophes.
How many years could we expect?
We have a 10-year warranty on our product.
Well, it sounds like a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Oh, and I didn't address another thing too, purchase of products. There's a thing in Pennsylvania, CoStars. Our products are listed under CoStars through different distributors. So that's another way of buying the products through CoStars, which Bristol Township did do.
Okay. All right, Mr. Brasky.
My question is kind of, touching off of his. Earlier you said the life expectancy was 10 years, and now the warranty's 10 years. Is that correct? They're both 10 years?
Warranty's 10-year, life expectancy is probably 15 to 20.
Okay.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
It's a little better, thanks.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Mr. Dents.
I actually spoke to Troy Brennan from Bristol Township today, and he said it was basic math, as you can see here. It was a no-brainer for them. They're paying back the money they borrowed and are still cash positive every month with the lights they've installed so far. When we met a couple weeks ago with Joey Arneo to look at the different light fixtures they offered, the fixtures that Mr. Arneo chose, that he preferred, were actually 100% manufactured right here in Pennsylvania. So it's not only an American-made product, it's a Pennsylvania-made product installed by hopefully a Falls Township contractor, which makes it sound even better to me. But no, it is basic math. It seems like a pretty good idea. I guess the question for us is, do we borrow the money or do we just spend the money? It's not something we budgeted.
Correct. Mr. Rocco?
I think mostly all the questions have been covered, but a 3.7-year payback and a $1.6 million savings over 10 years, it's black and white. So I'm all for it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Clark, we could purchase these, or Ms. Gallagher, one of you, we could purchase these lights off of CoStars, and then we have to go out to bid for the labor, if that's what we chose to do?
That is correct. The type of lights that are identified, there are 3 separate CoStars contracts in Pennsylvania right at this moment. So you can purchase the lights through the CoStars program, but the installation, because we're assuming it's going to be higher than $19,000 for the installation, is going to require to go out to bid.
I thought you said $65.
Per
Per
head.
fixture.
I'm joking, Ranger.
Yeah.
If you could get a contractor to do that, that'd be awesome.
And I'm wondering, we have two of the Jeffs on the board are electricians. I'm wondering why they just can't do it, like a volunteer service.
Might be cheaper to go out to bid.
Yeah. Yeah, the questions I had were answered. I wanted to know where the lights were made, and also I wanted to make sure that Joe Arneo, who's our public works guys, would be the ones having to do maintenance on these. Wanted to make sure that he was included, and obviously he was, and I appreciate that. Obviously, we all appreciate that. I guess in terms of a question somebody might have, some people already have lights like this on their street, or they drive past them. How is an LED light different? How's a person driving or walking on the street going to perceive this differently from the other lights that are out there now?
I think most of your other lights are high-pressure sodium mercury vapor. So high-pressure sodium is more of that orangey type of glow. Mercury vapor is kind of a bluish type of glow. The LEDs we're proposing would be a white light, which actually we've done different polls. We did the city of Boston, and we asked a couple of their police and rescue squads because they couldn't tell the difference between coolant and blood. So underneath of the color, you can actually see the true color of what it is, so you actually know what it is. People's perception in the beginning, some people are going to hate it, some people are going to love it. It depends on the area that you're doing and the people that live in that area. But within a matter of about a month, everybody loves it.
Why would they hate it, for example?
Because it's a change.
Okay.
You're going from an orange to a white light.
Okay.
Some people don't like change.
Right. Is it fair to say, I know with a lot of the LEDs we put in so far, there's less sort of ambient lighting that sort of goes everywhere. It's a little bit more focused.
Correct. Which
people tend to like because they're not getting the street light in their window kind of thing, or in any kind of glare off of something. That's fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, LEDs are more directional, so you're actually putting more of the light actually onto the road versus the conventional source that you have. A lot of the lights being trapped and kind of going everywhere. So the uniformity, level of light on the ground is a lot more uniform.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Any public comment, questions? See any hands? All right, so at this point, the board, I think, needs to give some direction to the manager, maybe the solicitor too, in terms of what
So
we'd like to do.
can I ask what the next steps would
Go
be?
ahead.
I was just going to do that. The next step would actually be what we did in Bristol, which would be a complete audit of your street lighting. What we do is, like we did in Bristol, we went out and we actually roamed the streets in a car with the little markers. Under every single street light, we actually had a little GPS locator, which actually creates a map so we know exactly where the lights are. We look at all the lights that are actually up, and we create more of a uniform street, because sometimes when a light burns out, they just slap whatever it is that's up there when it shouldn't be that wattage. So you actually could gauge a little bit more of an energy savings from that too. But we would ask for an audit to be done so we can get a true exact count of what actually the total amount of fixtures need to be done for this project.
Okay. So the ones we've already changed, the LEDs,
They
you
wouldn't be
changed
changed
again?
unless you wanted us to, which made no sense. So.
Okay, right. Okay. All
Do
right.
we know what brand they are, Jeff?
The current ones?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Current LEDs?
No?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Now, do you think they would look different? Like if we mix and matched? I don't.
Only way it would look different is if they use a different color temperature. If this
They
was
probably
done about 3 years ago, the LEDs were 5K, which was more of that bluish type light.
Right.
But if these were done recent, they should all be the same color.
Right. So that would be one thing I guess we'd need to take into consideration. They need to be uniform.
But if we did the audit, I could have
You
the
would
guys
know.
go out at nighttime and actually look at those so they could see the color.
It's been going on, as they go bad, they replace them with LEDs. So it's been going on about 3 years. I don't know if we actually have them in stock or if that we buy them as we need them, so.
I think he usually buys them ahead of time, doesn't he?
Yeah, I believe he has some in stock
Right.
in the back.
And I know obviously we've replaced them, except for there were a handful of streets we did a pilot program on. We just replaced all the ones on that street. And usually we pick relatively small streets. So there might be, 3 lights or something.
Like Old Locust was
For the most, exactly. For the most part, I think we've been replacing them in this kind of a scattered fashion just as something goes out that I don't know if you'd really even notice when you mixed in with all of these. If the newer ones, I don't think you'd even notice.
Yeah, good.
Oh, that one out of the 20 is different than the others.
Yeah, because in my neighborhood, let's say I have 5 streetlights. I think 3 were white or blue, and the other 2 were orange. So I think getting used to all the same is going to be a nice thing as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
As you go down Olds Boulevard, well, I notice, I guess, because I'm an electrician, but there are a couple random ones that are the LEDs that kind of stick out now.
Yeah, right. So does this include all the highways as well?
It would
That
include
lights?
your whole map. We would ask for a map, and once we're provided that map, then we would cover that whole area.
Okay.
Okay, so is that what we want to do?
We would need to get, well, if that's where we want to, if that's the direction, we could certainly ask for
A
a
proposal?
proposal to be sent in, and we can consider it for our next meeting.
Yeah, do you have a
I
proposal?
have it with me.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I don't see any reason personally why we should wait.
What it is, it's, they kind of calculated it's $5 a picture.
Okay.
And there's roughly about, I think, 25 or something.
Yeah, thank you.
If you have a copy, make sure the solicitor manager get ones, if you have enough of those, please.
Thank you.
The warranty on the fixtures, that covers the parts. Is there anything for labor for the 10 years? If our guys have to go up and work on the fixture?
If there's an issue with the fixture where something
This is
fails,
just a
you would let us know that. We would supply the parts and materials. If we had the financing through it, then we would cover all of that. But if we don't finance it, then that would be on you guys.
If we just bought them outright, in other words. Okay.
I was going to say pending.
And what is
solicitor
the estimated time to replace, do you know?
The LED fixtures,
review. Why? It's a professional service.
15 years.
No, I'm sorry, I mean labor-wise, how much
Oh,
time does
labor?
it take to switch them things out? How many?
Oh, it takes about 5 minutes.
Okay, so it probably takes longer to get up there and,
Takes a lot longer to set up and
Yeah.
actually get up there
Right.
than actually
Okay.
change that.
So we're probably getting a contractor bill at a 2-hour minimum or
I
4-hour
think Joe,
minimum.
actually, Joe, Public Works does it now, I believe.
Yes.
So they
Public
would
Works
continue to-
replaces it now.
No, he wants no parts of doing this.
No, the replacement, the maintenance he would
Oh,
do.
Yeah,
but
the
if we
maintenance-
finance it, what he said, if we finance it through him,
Right.
then they're just going to come out and swap it out.
Yep.
We don't have to
Right,
touch
that's what
them.
I'm saying, yeah.
If
that's
we
what-
buy them outright, then he's
Right.
going to supply the parts.
I see what
We
you
have to
the
do the
one where
work.
I change it.
Right.
See, that's what we did with Bristol. We financed it. So for the 5 years that we have the contract that we financed it for, anything that happens, the bill
Right.
goes to us.
Yeah, so what, so at
Finance it for 6
3%,
years.
so, it sounds like a deal, but I'm not sure it is. At 3%,
Yeah, right.
What's that?
over $500 or $600,000 over 3%, it's probably not, hopefully your products are
They should be
good
up.
quality.
Yes.
Well, for,
Banking on nothing going wrong.
If LEDs are going to
Right.
go, and
Soon
this
as you
is what
install
we're
it.
finding out in Bristol, if LEDs are going to go, the problem is a driver. And out of the 3,000 fixtures that we've put up there, I think we've had 3 fixtures that had bad drivers. But that's still covered under everything because it's the first install. Once they're up and running and they're good for 30 days, and they've been running for 30 days, we haven't had any issues with those. So,
So the money we'll save on not financing, we'll pay for, even if we had to hire a contractor.
Right, that's what it
Right.
sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
You would agree with that, right, Pete?
Sounds about right, yes.
Yeah.
all right, so at the moment, we're taking a look just at the proposal to do the audit, which is $12,760 to take a look at 2,552 fixtures, roughly 2,552 fixtures. Mr. Clark, Mr. Gray, any concerns regarding this proposal?
I would only ask that you approve it pending solicitor review, because they have an indication here in the notes section, Phillips' standard terms and conditions apply. We don't have Phillips's standard terms and conditions. So if we could see those, and we'll review those. But if you can approve it pending that, then we can probably get it executed pretty quickly.
yeah, they put that in there for in case there's multiple fixtures.
Sure.
Or less fixtures, is us to change the pricing. And it's $5 per fixture.
Okay. So if you go out there and there's only 2,000, it would be 10,000 instead of?
Correct. It would
Okay.
come down.
Okay. Comments or questions?
No.
Mr.
No,
Gray, any concerns?
I'm fine.
So we couldn't move on the project without doing this?
We recommend doing that just because the issue we had at Bethlehem, there wasn't an audit done beforehand. which created a big issue or a problem because no one knew exactly what was out there.
Right.
And then moving forward, we had fixtures that were ordered. We had to change all those fixtures, which delayed the project. The project is supposed to be done at a certain time, so it's a more of a hassle, I guess you can say.
Right. So it's not necessary, but
It's not
highly
necessary.
recommended.
Yes.
What is the timeframe for the audit?
We completed Bristol, which had 4,500 fixtures in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it'd probably take about maybe 2 weeks to do it here.
Okay.
Okay. All right, other questions for Mr. Van Gilson?
No.
So we didn't budget for this,
No.
any of it, including the audit, right?
Right.
So do we continue to discuss how we're going to finance it and just roll this into whether we decide to use their financing terms or we decide to use our own money?
Well, what's the pleasure of the board in terms of this? Is this something we want to act on? You know, is there an interest in acting on the audit this evening pending solicitor approval? And then we have obviously a couple of weeks to talk about financing, or do we want to hold off on everything for a couple of weeks?
I say we just move forward with the audit, and then we at least know what we have.
Okay.
The audit's good.
All right.
Okay.
Is there a motion then to approve pending solicitor approval, the expenditure $12,760 to Phillips National Lighting for the audit of Falls Township streetlights?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes. Are the old lights worth anything?
Scrap.
Yeah, recycle them. They might get something for that. Some people are actually selling them on the internet for like $20 a head. Something to bring
For
back.
a community somewhere.
Yeah, Mars
Some
store or
communities
something
that
like
would buy it,
Yeah, I was just wondering, yeah.
I'd like to add, when we met with Mr. Arneo and the Public Works staff, they had some questions about, the fixtures themselves, and they were very accommodating at how they could orient the internals of this stuff to suit their needs, basically however they wanted it designed and built to suit, which is very nice, which made them very comfortable.
Yeah, to make it easier for
Yeah.
installation and wiring.
Right. Thank you, that's all I had.
Thank you
Okay, thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
very much. One quick question.
Yes.
Who should I send the Phillips terms and conditions to?
Yeah, Miss Gallagher will give you her contact info. Okay. Next item on our agenda is adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 2 and 3 to adopt Article 8, Neighborhood Traffic Advisory Committee, and Article 9, Traffic Calming Measures. These two ordinances were discussed a few meetings ago. We talked before, Mr. Dents especially has been kind of spearheading the effort to create a traffic advisory committee that would involve members of the community, as well as some people here from the staff in Falls Township, to take a look at issues in the neighborhoods regarding traffic and propose different solutions or potential solutions to deal with those traffic issues, particularly speeding. Add anything or?
No, I'm just glad we're finally to this point.
Yeah.
We're ready to start appointing members
Yeah.
and actually get this rolling.
And then this would be an advisory committee. People who had an issue could come to whenever this committee wants to meet, could come to a meeting, obviously, where they could submit their concerns to the township. And this committee would hear those and begin sort of a planning process for how to address those specific issues on those specific streets. This would be advisory only. They wouldn't really have the authority to kind of do things on their own. They'd obviously make recommendations to us, and then we could work with our traffic engineers and the police and try and find solutions, hopefully, to the issues. Comments or questions regarding the proposed ordinance? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Dents?
None.
Mr. Rocco?
I have none.
Any public comment? See no hands. All right, this will be ordinance 14-3.
3.
Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 14-3, creating a neighborhood traffic advisory committee and also approving traffic calming measures?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
I'd like to add real quick that we'll have a link on the website. If you have a traffic calming issue or a traffic issue, you can send the email and Mr. Gray will filter the emails. And we're still looking for volunteers, so if anybody thinks that they might want to serve on this committee, they can also send a letter of interest to the same link.
Or an email, yeah, right, an email,
Yeah.
right.
An email, right.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is consider the 2014-15 stone and asphalt bids for Falls Township. Mr. Gray?
Yes, Joe Arnao from the Public Works Department secured bids through the Bucks County Consortium for the purchase of asphalt and stone. The purchase of asphalt is from Barrett Asphalt, located in Morrisville. Barrett Asphalt is the lowest responsible bidder when considering delivery costs by Barrett or township employees for pickup from Barrett. The purchase of stone is from Miller Materials. Miller is the lowest responsible bidder as well. Delivery of the stone will be, in most instances, picked up by the Public Works Department. Per the specifications of the bid documents, we were required to inform these companies by March 31st. Yesterday, I contacted the board to ask if all board members are in favor of these vendors, and they were. So at this time, the board is asked to ratify the approval of Miller Materials and Barrett Asphalt.
Okay. All right, comments or questions for Mr. Gray regarding these two bids? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
Nope.
Mr. Dents?
None.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes, is this something we did last year as well? I don't remember.
We do it every year.
Do it every year, okay. No questions.
Okay, and I don't have any either. It's a pretty straightforward thing. Public comment? See no hands. Okay, is there a motion then to ratify or adopt the bids from Barrett Asphalt and Miller Materials in their bids, both dated March 20th, 2014, as presented in the memo from Mr. Gray, which is dated March 28th, 2014?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Boraski?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
All through all this stuff.
Wow.
Do it the other way. Okay. Okay, item 7 is consider adopting ordinance amending Chapter 168 Parks, Section 15 Miscellaneous Provisions, subsection B, hunting. Ms. Gallagher? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. This was also advertised back in March of 2014. This ordinance would amend the rules that exist in the community park and remove the restriction against the carrying and possession of firearms within the park boundaries.
Okay. But hunting would still be prohibited with any
Hunting-
with any weapon.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Comments or questions from or for Ms. Gallagher? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Dents?
None.
Mr. Rocco?
No. So if this passes, what do we do? Change the sign?
Correct.
Just one sign, okay. That was all I had.
Okay. Is there any public comment? See no hands. All right, this will be ordinance 14-4.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 14-4.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No. All right, thank you. Motion passes. Okay, minutes, March 18th, 2014 is next agenda item. Okay, comments or questions regarding the minutes from the March 18th meeting? Who's missing? Mr. Galloway,
No questions.
Mr. Boraski,
No questions.
Mr. Dents,
No, excellent minutes, as always, Mrs. Pullen.
Mr. Rocco.
No, I wasn't here, but I felt like I was after I read them. Thank you.
All right, a motion to approve the minutes as presented March 18th, 2014.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, we don't have any need for executive session. Mr. Gray, you're up.
Yes, just a few items tonight. First item I have is an escrow release. The township received a request from Asset Management Consultants for the release of an escrow posted by Zayo Bandwidth for the cell tower located at 207 Austin Drive. We have confirmed with our engineer's office that this project has been completed. The amount of the escrow balance is $1,468.50. Board is asked to consider releasing this escrow.
Okay, comments or questions?
No.
None.
Okay, is there a motion then to release the escrow amount of $1,468.50?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Next item I have, the township received a quote from Concepts in Concrete. They would be working out at the Falls Township Pinewood Pool. There's several tasks that need to be concluded, including grinding the floor to remove loose coating, closing in the cracks, filling all the voids, and applying a top coat per the requirements that are necessary to get the facility back into compliance for Board of Health. Total cost of this project is $5,880. Board is asked to consider this proposal at this time.
And just to be clear, this is inside the building, inside the men's
In the
locker room?
restrooms, locker rooms.
Okay,
yes.
both locker rooms, okay. Different, that we had another project, obviously focusing more on the pool itself and fixing some of the issues there. Comments or questions for Mr. Gray? Mr. Galloway?
No questions.
Mr. Brasky?
Pete, do you know how many bids were placed on the job?
We did look at 3 separate quotes. This was the lowest. We met with this gentleman as well, and looks like he's going to do everything we requested.
Were they all in the same ballpark, or?
No, there were, this one was 5,800. I think there was one for 12, and I think there was one for about 25.
Wow. That's all I have.
Yeah, I remember seeing them. They were
All over.
wide.
Yeah.
Mr. Dents?
And these are all, this is something that's required by the Department of Health for us
That's
to
correct.
open. So this is something we have to do.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Mr. Rocco?
I have nothing.
Okay. And noted on here, above listed work should take 3 to 4 days to complete, and manufacturer recommends at least 72 hours for getting it wet. Clearly, we should have plenty of time to do that. I know I had somebody who was concerned, they had heard we were doing some repairs in the pool and were wondering if it was going to be open in time, and this was maybe a month ago. It's not really an issue. The work that has to be done will be done on time, and this will too. So just want to make sure people are aware of that. Okay, so is there a motion then to approve or to adopt the bid $5,880 from Concepts in Concrete Incorporated for the work at the Pinewood Pool?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
My next item, speaking of the Pinewood Pool, the documents have been reviewed for the other project at the Pinewood Pool, which is the repairs of the baby pool, the leaks. At this time, the board is asked to consider granting authorization for the township manager to finalize the Pinewood Pool repairs for that project as well.
Okay. Comments or questions?
None.
None.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
My next item, the township received a request from TAG, which is Townships Against Graffiti, for their annual donation. TAG is an organization that removes graffiti from public places within the township. In the 2014 budget, the township included $5,000 for TAG. At this time, the board is asked to consider a $5,000 net donation to TAG.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to removing the graffiti, also clean up the roads. Yeah, I've seen the little
Yes.
crews out there as well.
They do a nice job. Every time I've ever called Pete, they're there the next day. It's cleaned up, the graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a spot right now, if we're approving this, on Woolston Road, on the underpass, on the,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, right,
Yeah,
Pete?
yep.
They come out and they do the same for the schools too, that morning, so the
Yeah,
kids
it's
don't even see
amazing how
it.
fast they come out and do it.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Other comments or questions?
None.
Now, we do have a list, just in case people are curious, of 14 from 2013, 14 different areas of Falls Township where TAG came out to do work. just last year. And as you can hear, there are a few,
Yeah.
at least one area so far this year. So I guess that's one of the downsides of the weather getting nicer. Is,
The vandals come out.
yeah. So, all right. Is there a motion then to approve the $5,000 donation to TAG?
So moved. Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Finance is proposing the purchase of an IBM PowerWare rack mount UPS for the AS400 server. This is a UPS.
I think you just made all that up.
Flux capacitor.
This is a specialized battery for the Finance Department's AS400 server. A regular UPS device does not integrate with the AS400. So to provide a battery option in case of power losses or spikes, this unit is the best choice. The township did receive a quote from Design Data, our AS400 supplier, for this unit in the amount of $3,027. The board is asked to consider this proposal at this time.
So if I could, I spoke to Mr. Markey. This UPS actually talks to the AS400, and if there's a power failure, it instructs the AS400 to shut down gracefully, which, if it's in the middle of a backup or anything like that, it knows, what to do. So there's some intelligence between the UPS and the operating system, the AS400. So my first thought was, boy, it seems like a lot of money, and it is, but it's more than just a UPS.
What's the AS400?
It's a computer.
Oh,
It's for the Finance Department.
got ya.
It's at
Yeah.
Finance Department.
We're going to need, when this airs, we're going to need subtitles. To sort of,
Yeah, we'll get that.
But no, I know we did have a power outage here, last week?
Friday at 1:30.
Friday, and that was some serious concern about, what was going to happen with the servers and, data. This is obviously would prevent loss of data and other, problems that we would face. It is the computer age, obviously, and we have to deal with that. But comments or questions? Any other
No.
issues? All right, is there a motion then to approve the purchase from Data Design for the IBM PowerWare rack mount UPS for the AS400 server in the amount of $3,027?
Sounds funny.
So moved.
Second.
Almost like I knew what I was talking about. All right, Mrs. Pullen, go ahead.
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dents?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Township received a letter from Ellen Toadvine dated March 20th regarding the waiver of land development application for Puss in Boots, requesting an extension of time on this project until June 16th. The board is asked to consider this extension at this time.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the waiver?
I just have,
Excuse me, the extension until June 16th. Apologize.
so can we continue, or can they continue to ask for extensions, or is there a time
Yes.
frame?
No, they can continue
Okay.
to ask for extensions forever. Yeah.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Township also received a letter from Mr. Jim McCann from Pinoni dated March 20th regarding the South End Water Storage Facilities Project. He is also requesting an extension on time on the land development subdivision application for a period of 90 days. And this particular application is set to expire on April 19th. The board is asked to consider this 90-day extension from April 19th.
Comments or questions?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion then to approve the extension for 90 days?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Township also received a letter from Erin McCloskey dated March 19th regarding AutoZone. She is requesting a 90-day extension on that particular land development application. The board is asked to consider this extension as well.
Okay, comments or questions?
No.
None.
All right, is there a motion then to approve the 90-day extension for AutoZone?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just an announcement, the Trenton Avenue Corridor Study there will be a public workshop on Wednesday, April 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. This will be held at the Eleanor Roosevelt Elementary School at 185 Walton Drive. The public is asked to come and give any comments they may have regarding this project. If you have any questions, please call Doug Robbins at URS 215-940-9279. And finally, the township did receive a proposal from Pannoni Associates for the Falls Tullytown Municipal Boundary Line. Total amount of this particular project is $10,000, split between both. The board is asked to consider this at this time.
So ours is 5,000?
Correct. This is the, what appears now to be the never-ending borderline dispute with Tullytown. And this is entering into the final stages of the engineering. Now that there's been a plan agreed upon, now that the court has approved that plan, there needs to be a record plan that needs to be created and submitted and filed with the Bucks County Recorder of Deeds. There also needs to be monumentation placed at the site. So in the future, if this issue ever arises, we'll be able to tell where Falls ends and Tullytown begins. So this is the final stage of the engineering portion of this, and the record plan is $5,250. The monumentation is $4,750 and split between the two municipalities for a total of $5,000 each.
Okay. Comments or questions?
Is this the end?
This is the end of the engineering portion. Then the next is to try to figure out exactly if anyone was overpaid over the last couple of years. So, but that will fall to essentially Waste Management and to Betsy Rukoff and Pete.
Do we know if either township gained or lost property?
We
Sort of, not really. There were two lines where Falls thought we had more property, Tullytown thought they had more property. The actual line came somewhere in between. So I don't think we really lost or gained either
And how,
municipality.
This,
and has Waste been paying 50/50?
this much. They said they had this.
Waste had always been paying along the original dividing amount of everything that went into that landfill. But when this dispute arose, in order to save some potential problems down the future, they went to paying 50/50. So they figured it'll be easier from an accounting standpoint if they do need to rectify it, so.
Okay.
So we've spent about $250,000 in engineering fees and lawyer fees to say,
Here it
yeah, it's even, and it always was.
And while that.
Not done yet, I might add.
And while that may be true, and not to sound like my 8-year-old nephew, they started it. So this is not something that we the township, and
Our
even
landfill's
remotely
bigger
was
than theirs,
looking
though.
at. This was something that Tullytown has been pushing for the last several years.
That's it.
Other comments or questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion then to approve the expenditure of $5,000 for Pannoni Associates to settle the Great Tullytown Falls border war?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mrs. Pullen?
Mr. Galloway?
Yes.
Mr. Bransky?
Yes.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Dick?
Yes.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That's it? Okay. All right, we'll move to board comment. Start, Mr. Rocco?
Yeah, just a few things. I wanted to welcome Brian and Jessica to the team, so I'm excited to have you guys. And congratulations to Mr. Zeke. 50 years of volunteering is quite an accomplishment. And then just the last thing is the LED lights. I'm really excited about it. I think, as Vaughn said earlier, once the residents get used to it, it'll look better, as well as save us money and save the environment at the same time. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Galloway?
No comments tonight, thank you.
Mr. Dents?
I'm glad that we finally have this traffic committee as an official committee, and we can actually start working to calm some traffic in Falls Township. As we've said over and over, that this is the biggest complaint of everyone in Falls Township. That was my pet project for a while now, but I'm looking for a new one. And my new one's going to be a Live Here, Spend Here campaign to try and promote spending money where you live right here in Falls Township and hopefully generate a lot of business for some of the businesses in Falls Township, because you pretty much can buy anything you need right here in town. So that's going to be my next project I'm going to start working on. And that's all I have for tonight.
Sounds good. Mr. Boraski.
I have nothing.
Okay. I want to thank board members, obviously, for all the work they put in, professionals as well. Also welcome Mr. Andrews, Ms. Fox here to Falls Township, and hopefully it's a long and fruitful relationship. We're glad to have you here, and thank you to Mr. Gray. He's the one who did all the interviewing, sorted through all the applications. This was a very, very, there were a couple of issues, a couple of questions about the departure of Mr. Reese and whether or not it was some kind of political motivation, which was, really idiotic to even bring up. It had nothing to do. In fact, most of us hadn't even met Mr. Andrews or Ms. Fox until this evening. They were both completely hired by Mr. Gray. We trust him. He's done a pretty good job so far. Police chief and code enforcement and a fire marshal and a finance director and now a park and rec director. So he's had a chance to really kind of hire a tremendous number of people to really move this township forward, and we thank him for his work. Just to touch on one issue, kind of moving forward and bring one up too. Mentioned about the flooding issue. Quite a few homes. I know that in the news recently, flood insurance rates went up. We continue to struggle with FEMA to get them to look at the maps that place parts of Falls Township, especially North Park, Elderberry, in the flood zone. Areas that haven't flooded and people that have lived there for 50, 60 years and never flooded, and they're paying thousands of dollars in flood insurance. It's difficult to sell their homes. It's difficult to do much of anything when you're spending that much money for something that seems needless. And we continue to work with FEMA. We've kind of made some headway in terms of getting some properties out. We're hopeful that we can get more, but we are continuing that fight. We're going to hopefully be meeting with some representatives from FEMA in the near future to kind of address these a little more specifically. So that is something we're aware of. We're continuing. It's nothing we have any control over. So we are working on it, and we ask for people's patience. And it's something that's regrettable. We can't control the cost of flood insurance. We're trying to do what we can to get rid of it for people that, quite frankly, don't need it. Talking about a little bit about pet projects, something I want to ask the solicitor to take a look at is the fines we currently have, and if we're allowed to increase fines for littering. It may be very noticeable now, especially because of shrubs and everything else that haven't leafed out. But it's really kind of clearly obvious. There's a lot of debris on the sides of roads, and people even throwing cigarette butts and things out the windows of their cars and things like that. Obviously, it's I wonder if we can increase the penalties, what our penalties are now, if they're maxed out, if we can make them stronger, and I think that's something in addition to Mr. Dentz's idea, which is a great one for Live Here, Spend Here. This is a community we should be proud of, and we should do what we can to keep it as clean as we can. So well, hopefully we can get working on that. And I know that there are a couple municipalities that have their police departments do. I don't know if it's kids from the juvenile court or whatever that come out on weekends and clean things up. Maybe that's something we can take a look at, where we can have some crews go out there. District Justice Kozlowski might be able to send a few names our way of people that could need to do some community service, and we could have them patrolling on the sides of the roads, picking up debris. That's something I think we'll make a good use of their time. So I think that's something else we can take a look at. And finally, just an announcement from Levittown Fire Company. This Saturday, starting at 5:30, is a designer bag bingo. It's a fundraiser, obviously, for the fire company. Bingo starts at 7, but doors open at 5:30. If you purchase the tickets early, they're $25. Purchase them at the door, if they're still available, $30. There are 15 regular games of bingo, 4 special games, and 1 jackpot. There's also 50-50. No one under 10 admitted, no children under 10. There are refreshments and food available to purchase. And this is at Colonial Hall, the Levittown Fire Company on Falls Tullytown Road. Purses from Michael Kors, Vera Bradley, Coach, There's, Mother's Day is coming up. Might be able to play bingo and win yourself a prize to give to mom or your wife or whoever else you want to give it to, I guess. And I think we do have this advertised probably on the website or cable channel or both. But the people at Levittown Fire Company asked me to repeat that announcement, and I was happy to do that. For tickets, 215-945-4231 or 215-791-1309. So help your local fire company. Frelsso's Fire Companies, again, one of the great companies we have here in addition to the other two. So we're glad to help them out any way we can. And with that, I will entertain.
One more, real quick. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I woke up this morning and I completely forgot that today the street sweeper was starting in my neighborhood. So you might want to check the schedule on the website because it's going to be going through Falls Township starting today.
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right, I thought it was going to be some kind of April Fool's thing.
No.
Okay, all right, good. All right, and at the clock, it looks like 8:09. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.